Pepsi, where's my jet? Coke, please. I'm here to talk about something that happened a decade later, aka when life began. It's the year of our Lord 2005, when Pepsi teamed up with iTunes that had recently launched in 2001, taking over the digital download space and MP3s, setting themselves aside as leaders and also givers awayers of free things, as bottle caps were flying out left and right in their colorful yellow display. I'm sitting here editing this video and I legitimately am so excited because I can't believe that I finally found an excuse to make it. I, for so long, have had this idea written down, like Pepsi cap video. It's been a note in my phone under video ideas. And finally, Netflix makes a documentary that pops off and puts Pepsi in the news cycle in a somewhat positive way. You better believe I'm hopping all over that. Let's get to it. iTunes and Pepsi made an exciting announcement at the 2004 Super Bowl where they announced the free download campaign. They were appearing on bottle caps and people were redeeming millions upon millions of free songs. 1 out of every 3 bottles was a winner, so it seemed like a no-brainer. Pepsi's sales were skyrocketing. The cola or soda wars had really intensified by the 90s, and that had revitalized itself during the 2000s. I finally secured a somewhat decent iPod Nano sometime in 2005, and it was around that time that Pepsi had relaunched their campaign because of how successful the first one was. People were staying on iTunes, they were buying even more songs after getting their free ones. Does anyone else remember how slow broadband internet was in the mid-2000s? That's what I was working with when trying to install iTunes, and I was trying to hide it from my parents because I couldn't have my desktop in my room. It had to be in the family computer room. Well, it turns out that big bulky Dell didn't really want to download things very quickly, but I did start collecting bottle caps because my dad, who was a teacher, he actually would get Pepsi every single day out of the drink machine at his school, and he would bring that bottle home with him, like 99% of the time, and I started asking him to bring it home, and I started to get a shitload of caps. Does this right here ring any sort of bell to you? You know where the #1 place where I got those from was, right?
The landfill.
The #1 place where I picked these little bottle caps up was behind the high school that we lived behind at the time. Remember we would go play tennis? I would go up to the recycling bins and I would grab any of the ones that were at the top. I would take the caps off of them, put them in my pants, and then we would go play tennis.
You and I both played tennis too, Jonathan. I do not ever recall you going in the trash cans and hunting through for...
Well, it must not have been around the same time. I know at the park we used to play at. But do you remember these? Do you remember these codes? And
I do.
the downloads and all that good stuff. What does it say in there?
Biblet, shablalet, and giblet free song. That
mutually beneficial association lasted for quite some time as campaigns sparked up again occasionally. I believe there was one in 2011. I was in college at the time and I said, you know what, John? You don't need iTunes at this point. You have the Pirate Bay. I don't remember what I downloaded first specifically because I know what songs were on my first mix CD, and I kept a lot of records of the first songs that I was hearing. I've showed this briefly before, but I used to keep records of all the songs that I had ever heard, and I wanted to have a way of storing that because I didn't have my own computer at the time and I didn't want my parents to see. Fall Out Boy Sugar We're Going Down was definitely one of the first free ones that I got. I was getting singles, I wanted albums, St. Jimmy by Green Day. In terms of other free ones, Avril Lavigne. I remember getting a Simple Plan song, which I guess it was free, so I can't regret it all that much. I was just a kid. I almost couldn't even believe this because I found my first ever piece of YouTube merch that I made back in 2010, but beyond that, past the Vote for Pedro hoodie, that Pedro offers you his protection, I found something that I got with Pepsi points. It's a Pepsi CD case. I wasn't even looking for this, but I found it. And look what comes out. A Napster CD with Green Day's American Idiot, the All-American Rejects, Move Along, and Weird Al Yankovic. I believe this was Poodle Hat. Oh my God. Hold up, it's also an Office Depot, and it's a mix CD. The sky was the limit with Pepsi points. I wasn't just getting MP3s, I'm getting CDs, baby. One thing I conveniently left out up until now, unlike these designer shades from Pepsi.com, I actually didn't drink soda as a kid or a teenager at all. Like, I really hated it, and if I was ever in a situation where even water wasn't available, I would just sip on enough Mellow Yellow to not choke to death. I don't know what was wrong with me. I probably had a traumatic experience with the soda machine.
From your childhood? You had 2 guitars.
Jonathan wanted one of those.
They wouldn't even give me one.
He wanted one forever.
I did. It's true.
You did.
I really did.
Well, now you got it.
I'm gonna call it there, guys. Thank you so much for watching till the end of this video. Please hit that like button, subscribe for the love of music, and let me know in the comments section down below what were your thoughts on the whole Pepsi MP3 giveaway, and also the Pepsi Where's My Jet. If you watched the documentary, I'm curious to know what you guys thought. There's a couple of recent videos on screen, and I'll see you guys soon on Beyond ARTV.